Welcome to the Cupid's Coach podcast. I'm your host, Julie Ferman, inviting you to transform me to we through the process of doing dating better than you used to and with more consciousness and more awareness, on purpose, doing it better. Today, we're going to talk about one of the big challenges in dating, which is managing uncertainty. You don't really know what the future is going to look like. And that can cause some anxiety, can cause some worry, can cause some trepidation. So we're going to talk about solutions for all that. You might be engaged with a dating agency. You might be working with a matchmaker. You might be stirring up your own magic at coffee shops around town, which I highly recommend. You might be getting the courage to go to some local singles events or meetup groups. And I applaud you for doing these things, because it's part of how you will create your own future, your own destiny. You know, dating is really essentially a process of trying on hats, different kinds of hats, to see which hats fit you well today at this time in your life. How does this one feel? How do you look in that one? How do people react to you when you're wearing this type of a hat? All of those things are questions that we get to play with during the process of dating. Which of these hats is me, authentically me, feels good, looks good, feels authentically like the representation of me? Not only are you playing with your wardrobe while you're going through dating, but you're playing with who the characters are in the story that is your life. Who feels good to you and who doesn't? Paying particular attention to that and creating more awareness around it so that you can feel it when you're in the presence of someone who's great for you. Your spirits are lifted. You feel like you can be all of you. And then there are the other people that you don't feel so comfortable with. What are the qualities that each of those types of people has? It's what you get to pay attention to. So it's a bit of a conundrum. You know, the word dating infers that we're looking to get somewhere. We're out there meeting people in an effort to what? What's the reason for having first dates, second dates, ideally third dates? I love to see third dates. By the end of the third date, you know you've either got a friend, somebody that you enjoy being with, but the romantic piece isn't there, or sometimes it's timing. One of you might be ready for the love of your life, and the other one's like just starting the process of dating. That might be a relationship to explore romantically in the future, but for the time being, cycling buddies, hiking buddies, people you can go to the theater with, but not yet romance. These are the things that I want you to begin good at intuiting for yourself, perceiving for yourself. So the interesting thing is we're looking to find the solution when we're dating. We're looking to arrive at the answer to the question, should I be coupled up? Should I be in a relationship? Am I meant to be in a partnership? Am I destined to be coupled up? Or maybe not. Should I do life solo for a while? Should I be exploring relationships that are more like friendships, activity partners? Should I be spending a lot of sweet time alone, washing and combing and brushing my dog with loving care? Is that a good thing for me to do today? These are the decisions we get to play with. We want to resolve the tension that exists between me and we. We're yearning for it. We want to resolve that tension. We want to come to a conclusion. Who is my person going to be? So dating, in a way, is trying on hats to try to find that person, but the search and the yearning to find that person takes us out of the present moment. So you can see why it's a conundrum, right? So we crave resolution to the uncomfortableness that often exists in being alone, in living life solo. I say, get comfortable with that conundrum. Get comfortable with it. Play with it. Notice that sometimes you're more comfortable than others. It's simple to be in the present, to focus on the present and discipline ourselves to be in the present. But simple is not necessarily easy. Our tool is literally our presence, to cultivate presence, to develop the discipline to continue practicing, developing presence, and becoming adept at being fully engaged in the present moment where we are right now. In other words, date yourself. Date yourself. Practice bringing love to your very own self in a moment by moment fashion. I did that for myself this morning. I just came off a big, monster, wonderful retreat, the first big retreat that I've planned. And I did it here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, late August, after all the big summer markets were over, before Labor Day. And I brought about 15 people with me, and I seated the whole event with really wonderful other people. We did a hike up in the Aspens. We had a picnic in the Aspens, and we brought Martha Arnett, who is a fabulous coach on intuition. We brought her with us, and she gave us this incredible lesson on intuition as we were seated in the Aspens and the birds were flying around. And oh my gosh, it was so incredibly beautiful. And that night we had a conversational quickies dinner party. We had 40 people, and even men and women. And we talked about all kinds of out of the ordinary topics. Conversational quickies is fast little responses to unusual questions, not the type of questions that we typically hear over the dinner table or the coffee table on a date. And it was just beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. And then the second night we had a big cocktail party, and I invited all kinds of people, colorful characters from Santa Fe. Oh, it was so much fun. And then after that, one of the guys who was in our boot camp has live music at his home every 2 weeks. And I'd been to one of them, and it was so fun that coincidentally on the weekend of our retreat, he was having another party. So I got everybody out dancing. There were people dancing who had not been dancing in 30 years. I hope you are the type of person who has the kind of energy to go grab that person and bring them out on the dance floor. These people who hadn't dated in 30 years or hadn't been dancing in 30 years, they did just fine out there. The only person who's aware of us not being good at it is maybe ourselves. Everybody else is just out there having fun. They don't care what you look like. They see that you're out there with a smile, having a good time. Being in the moment, being in the present, engaging with whoever's there. Girls dancing with girls, girls grabbing way older guys, doesn't matter. Just get out there and have fun. And look in the eyes of the people who are creating the music and let them know how much you appreciate what they're doing for you, getting you out of your comfort zone, getting out there and dancing. It was raining too. We were dancing in the rain. And then I was hiding from the rain. There was this one little overhang, and 4 of my people were sitting on a couch, and there was no place for me to go. So I just threw myself on top of them. Yeah, it was the end of the retreat. It was a wonderful, wonderful release. And after that was all over, and I went back to this beautiful hotel. It was the Inn and Spa at Loretto. And what's really funny is the guy who's the general manager of that particular hotel was my general manager 34 years ago at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Louis. His name is Hal Leonard, and he did an incredible job. The hotel was just spot on perfect. And they had this wonderful pool, and it was raining. So guess what? Nobody was in the pool, and nobody was in the jacuzzi. So I took myself to the jacuzzi, and that's where I basically debriefed, talked to myself out loud about the way things had gone, things I would do differently next year. I took myself to the jacuzzi. I want you to spend time with yourself, loving yourself. Today's a decompressed day. Yeah, I'm doing a little work, but talking to you guys and creating a podcast is really not like work. It's just fun for me. But you know what? I've already taken one nap today, and I'll probably take another. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you eating good foods? Are you sleeping when you need to sleep? Are you creating space in your calendar for things that are important? Those are the kinds of things that I really want you to focus on. Every day, can we just have the discipline to do today well? And some of our todays are sad days. Sometimes we're sad. Sometimes we're anxious. Sometimes we're troubled. Sometimes we're worried. It's okay. That's the way we are in that moment. Can we fully feel it? Can we fully experience it? You know what happens when we do? It breaks up into bits and it flows right through us. And we get to the other side of whatever it is. Can you be with yourself in a loving way on one of your sad days? I'm working on that too. Do the whole week well. I want you to extend your focus beyond today to the week ahead and set achievable goals that align with your values and your intentions. What projects can you complete this week? Who will you spend time with on purpose? Who will you reach out to initiate a lunch date? Somebody who would really appreciate that invitation. Who will you call to check in on? In what ways will you care for your own health and well-being? How will your weekly plans support your overall happiness and well-being? Those are the things I want you to think about this week. And then also, are you planning for the month, right? Take a look at your calendar. Whip out your calendar and look and see, what can you put on your calendar for this month? The key events, tasks, or goals that you really want to focus on. It might be you've been wanting to take that salsa dance class and you haven't yet done it. You've been thinking about it, but you've never done it before. Yeah, put that one on your calendar. How about challenge yourself to plan a social gathering? Commit to doing that social dance party. Maybe you're going to learn salsa and sprinkle a little invitation out to some people. Hey, I'm going to do something really wild on Thursday night. I've never gone to a salsa class before and I thought it would be fun. Anybody want to go with me? You be the one to do that. There's a jazz club around the corner and you've always wanted to stop in there, but you never had anybody to do it with. Stop in all by yourself. Sit there and have sparkling water, get yourself a beer, order a glass of wine, have a cup of coffee, doesn't matter. Practice being comfortable on your own in social settings. You know that moment when you feel self-conscious, wondering what are other people thinking of you sitting alone in a jazz club? They aren't thinking of you. They're thinking about themselves, wondering if other people think they look uncomfortable. So you be the one who brings your level of comfort to the jazz club. And you look around and you're seeing interesting people and you're calling smiles to your face and they smile right back at you. Maybe somebody comes over to say hello. Maybe you stop at someone else's table and comment on how beautiful the blouse is, or he looks good in that bow tie. How is it that you can bring the life to the jazz club that you're sitting at all by yourself for the first time in your life? These are the kinds of things I want to see you doing. Scheduling an open Saturday afternoon with self-care. That might be taking your dog for a walk. It might be canceling everything that you were going to do that day and reading a book on your porch. What does self-care look like to you? I want you to plan monthly excursions, some kind of an excursion. It doesn't have to be expensive. It might be, you might take yourself on retreat. You might take yourself to a fancy spa. Head out of town alone or maybe with a neighbor you've been curious about to explore a new sushi bar. Or sit quietly with your thoughts at the counter. Exercise the courage to engage with whoever is there. Smile at the guy who's making you sushi and let him know how much you appreciate what he just created for you and how beautiful it is. When we do those things, we come out of self-consciousness. The desire to contribute to somebody else and self-consciousness can't exist in the same space. We get to choose where we're going to put our energy. Intentionally spend a day outside or with children. Do you have children that you could volunteer to babysit with? Take them to the zoo, take them to a movie, take them out for ice cream. These adventures, large and small, refresh your mind and spirit while brightening the day of those who get to be in your presence. And then, you know what I'm going to ask you to do? I'm going to ask you to plan out your year. Take a look at your big calendar. What can you put on your calendar? One of the reasons I love doing this retreat, and I will do them again and again, so many single people who are out there doing this thing called dating, hoping to find the hat that fits, hoping to find the person that would be great to keep. They're not going on their vacations. They're saving them for when they have someone to go with. If you want to go to Tuscany, go to Tuscany. Find some people to go with or jump in on a tour. I have a friend who just went to Italy and was doing wine tasting and bicycling because she loves it. Did she meet great people while she was there? You bet she did. If you haven't listened to the podcast yet with Robin Fisher Roffer about solo travel adventures, oh yeah, that's one I want you to pay attention to. I was so delighted that so many people came to this retreat. They've never done anything like that. They've never just taken themselves and put themselves into a retreat with people that they didn't even know. And some of them did know each other because they had done my boot camp together. How do you get invited to my retreats? Well, first you have to get through boot camp. There are people who've signed up for my boot camp and didn't make it to the end of it. They dropped out. Well, couldn't handle it, or somehow it wasn't the right time for them to engage with the material. But the people who got through it and did those exercises and came to the office hours calls, which we do together, we build these relationships with each other while we're learning and laughing and sometimes crying over the stories that we share with each other. And that is meaningful. And then when you come to a retreat and you see these people in the room, you instantly hug them and there's this incredible joy. Just beautiful. Put yourself in these environments. I encourage you to. So seeking growth opportunities, whatever that looks like to you, growth is a continuous process. And we assure growth by participating in activities that challenge and expand our horizons. Those two guys that I got out on the dance floor who hadn't danced in 30 years. Now they're dancers. They just created a whole new lane that they can do. And they looked great and they had a wonderful time. What is the thing that you have not been doing because you were worried about what somebody would think of you or that maybe you wouldn't do it well? What are those things? We did yoga every morning. There are people who had never done yoga before, all kinds of levels. And Paulette Dwyer was our yoga instructor. She's taught thousands and thousands of yoga classes. She knew how to guide us in ways that were comfortable for all different levels of activity. And now we have people who've done 2 yoga classes and now they are yogis. It's just a beautiful thing. I want you to challenge yourself. Dedicate time to reading and learning from coaches and guides that really inspire you. Personal growth isn't just about improving your life. Personal growth impacts our community. As we become better, more engaged in our communities, we are enriching our communities. So personal growth is not just an inside job. The more we have in terms of self-awareness, self-acceptance, appreciation, presence, the ability to be in the present, the more accessible we are to the people out there at the coffee shop, the people at the dog park, the people at the car wash, my favorite place to flirt. You know why, don't you? When you're at the car wash, you have 15 minutes, 20 minutes, nothing to do. I want you to have car wash adventures. I have people who specifically wash their car every week, whether it needs it or not, and they go to different car washes and they see what it's like and who might they meet. It's a wonderful place to meet people. If you've never tried it, do. You play the little game. Gosh, which car do I think is yours? Is it the Range Rover? Is it the Toyota Camry? Is it the Mercedes? I think it's the Range Rover. Play the game. Another thing I want you to do to really embrace the present moment, embrace your imperfections. Embrace them. We humans, we are mistake makers. And we can dwell on our missteps, or we can cut ourselves some slack. Gee, what do you think is better? Dwelling on missteps or cutting ourselves some slack? Let's remember to use the mistakes that we make as learning opportunities and ask ourselves, well, how can I do this better next time? One of my favorite mentors is a guy named Jim Cathcart. And he asked a question that I'll never forget. How would the person I'd like to be do the thing I'm about to do? That's a very powerful question to ask. The person I'd like to be, how would that person handle this mess I'm in right now? These are the kinds of things that I want you to focus on to bring more of yourself to each of your days that you get to live and to learn and to grow and to share with other people and bring them along with you on the ride. When you decided to go for coffee today by yourself and see who was there, who do you get to take with you along for the ride? Everybody who crosses your path. You be the one who holds eye contact with the stranger on the sidewalk and smiles and say, you look great in blue. Something like that. Just take it upon yourself to be the one who brightens the space where you are in your neighborhood. We're all works in progress, as is each person that we encounter along our dating journey. We want to cut ourselves some slack for our missteps. Can we cut those guys some slack for their missteps as well? If somebody shows up a little late on a date, if somebody forgot to check in with you first before the date, whatever the thing is that you noticed wasn't quite right, can you cut that person some slack? Would you hope that if it was you who was late, that they would cut you some slack? I remember one time I was meeting with this lovely, lovely gentleman. I'd had my conversation with him over the phone. Those of you who know my process, you know, we start with a 30-minute phone call, and then we can do our in-person consultation. These days, mostly it's done on Zoom. I realized after I got in the car to drive to Studio City from Westlake Village, California, on a Thursday, there was traffic, and I realized I had left a half an hour late. I was thinking I'm supposed to meet him at 6:30, but no, it was 6 o'clock, and I knew I was going to be late. And you know that feeling when you're frazzled. So, it's not safe to do, but I got on my phone and I called him and I told him I was late. And he's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm never bored. I'm looking forward to meeting you. And I got there and he stood up and he gave me a hug and he had this wonderful demeanor, very calm. And he said, one rule. I said, what's the rule? And he said, don't apologize. It's totally fine. What would you like to drink? And that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Incredible man that I loved working with. So relationships, a vital part of a meaningful, fulfilling life. I want you to schedule time with friends and family, doing activities that you love. What does that look like to you? Is it a hike? Is it a picnic? Carving out a few spacious hours to walk, find a park bench and talk with somebody who loves you and needs that time with you. These are moments of connection, and they're just priceless. And they serve as the building blocks for the open-hearted relationship that I know is in your future. Practice now, purposefully, building and nurturing relationships with the people that you have the opportunity to engage with now during this open space between relationships. Whose face can you bring a smile to? Who can you bring joy and support to now? When you're in the action of supporting another person, giving love, sharing love with another person, you can't feel lonely and sad yourself because they can't exist in the same space. Giving. And how about this one? when someone wants to give to you? How good are you at receiving? I'm working on that one. You have friends and I have friends who have a hard time receiving. Let's keep giving to them anyway. And let's keep working on our capacity for receiving love and support from other people. In what ways can you give and receive love today and have acceptance for yourself? What might that look like? Can you just stop right now and give yourself a hug? Just give yourself a hug. There's no one to give you a hug. Pretend I'm there with you, giving you a hug. We can give ourselves hugs. Routines create stability and ensure that we care for ourselves amidst the noise of our daily lives. What kind of routines can you build for yourself? How can you engage in the hobbies and passions that bring you joy? It adds fulfillment to our lives. What is it that brings you joy? It might be gardening, it might be hiking. I get joy out of washing my dog, swimming, riding your bike. Are you the person who can whip up a beautiful veggie stir fry, whether it's for yourself or for other people? You know, about cooking, very often we don't cook for ourselves. We don't take the time. But I really want you to get good at some fast things that are healthy, nutritious, and delicious. For me, it was always the veggie stir fry. I always had vegetables. I always had brown rice on the stove, and I'd throw it together. Simple, nourishing, wonderful, delicious. What can you have around the house that's going to support you in your goals for health and fitness, weight loss if you're working on that, and it makes you feel good, better than just having some Campbell's tomato soup, which happens sometimes. But how about whip out that veggie stir fry, throw a piece of salmon on the grill for yourself because you love yourself. Some of you might really enjoy and relish having a day of absolutely nothing. Nothing. You didn't do anything. You read, you binged on a show. Maybe you had some chocolate. I want you to fall in love with yourself during the space between relationships. However much in love with yourself you are right now, take it to another level. What does that look like? Plan for open time and open space. What is our need for constant activity actually masking? Are we afraid of the thoughts that might come to our mind if we have too much space? So do we fill our calendars up so that we don't have space? So that we won't fall into that little place of depression. What's wrong with me? I'm lonely. I have a wide open weekend and nothing on it. I remember what that felt like. But what is it masking when we get ourselves so busy? I want you to take the time to have a quiet walk in nature. Intentionally sitting in silence, feeling the sun's warmth on your shoulders. It's these moments where we find clarity, peace, and grace. So the conundrum about dating being about getting to someplace, about finding your person, balance that all out with the focus on the present moment. It's a powerful way to live meaningfully. And by doing today well, by doing this week well, by doing this month well, we are creating the foundation for a fulfilling future. What to do about the uncertainty that there is in this space between relationships? Let's embrace it. It's a wild adventure. We don't know the conclusion. When you pick up a book, you don't really want to go to the last page of the book and find out what happened. You want to go through the whole process as the story was meant to unfold. Your life's love story is unfolding right now. Look for and intentionally cause those growth opportunities for connection. Connecting with your deepest self and with those who cross your path today, this week, and this month. Purposely and with intention, develop your capacity to be in balance, to create that balance in your life on purpose, knowing and celebrating that every moment is an opportunity to live fully and authentically. Do it for yourself with a wry smile, knowing that being fully present, and also it serves as a clearing for those around you. People can't help but notice there's something about you that feels like home because you are at home. Thanks for listening, folks. You go out there and transform me to we for yourself.